And we are live with another episode of the Keeg Talks. Today, the Keeg Talks Fantastic Four First Steps. It's the newest Fantastic Four movie. It's the newest Marvel MCU movie. And we are here just a couple days after it came out to talk about the movie, what we thought, the ups and downs and lefts and rights. I am your host, Dimithri Pereira, and if you're watching us live, you're watching us on youtube.com/The Keeg Show. You could also be watching us on Twitch or listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. If you are listening to the podcast, you could just hear me, and I already introduced myself, so you don't know who the guests are, so let me introduce them. If you're watching us, you can see who our guests are, and that's, just an added bonus. First up, she has kind of been on the show before, but we had some problems, and I got her back now for Fantastic Four. We got Emily Beza, aka Movie Mija. Emily, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I actually just got back from a second screening of it, so I'm really excited to talk about this movie today.
That's crazy that you jumped into a second screening, not because of the movie, but just because you jumped in and then you get to come and do a podcast on it.
Yeah, of course. I got to come in prepared and informed, and I feel ready.
It's lucky enough that some movies, get you to go out once, but they got you to go out twice. So I'm really looking forward to your thoughts.
For sure. I mean, I must disclose I'm an AMC A-list member, so that makes it easier to go multiple times to a movie. So the threshold for entry is a little better.
I'm an AMC A-list member also. I wish that the Keeg was sponsored by AMC A-list. So if anyone's out there, I won't speak highly of anything that I don't like, but I love AMC A-list. So that's an easy sponsorship.
There you go.
But Emily, I'm glad to have you. So thanks for coming on this.
Thank you for having me.
Our second guest, first time on the Keeg, but I've been a fan of his content for a while. We got Drew Parker, aka Drew Parker 2K. Drew, what's up, man?
What's up? I'm happy to be here. I've seen this movie three times, and every time it is just as fantastic as the last, pretty much. Are
you feeling like seeing it a fourth time just to round it out?
I feel like I have to to round it out.
Yeah.
At this point.
Right. I mean, it's Fantastic Four, not Fantastic Four.
Exactly. No, exactly. No, you got to see it four times just for the meme at this point.
You got it. And after that, it's like 14, maybe 40?
44 times.
44.
444.
Yeah.
It starts getting a little exponential past that.
Yeah, it's like
hard to manage.
It's like when Spider-Man villains add too many villains to the Sinister Six.
Oh,
you have to go in those multiples.
Yeah,
so I get it. If anyone's out there watching us live, like, comment, subscribe, follow, jump in the chat. Let us know you're out there because we love to hear from you. We got Darth Chaco in the chat, longtime guest. Long-time caller. Darth Chaco says, "Oh man, I love Drew's content." So there you go, Drew.
Thank you so much. I love everybody who watches it. Honestly, it's the best part is just talking to all you guys about comics. Is really.
I had to get you on because you've been talking about Fantastic Four for a while. So I guess question for you: you're a Fantastic Four fan?
Oh, definitely. It's my area of expertise, mostly for Marvel.
Is it comics? Is it the movies? Is it Jessica Alba?
I think it's just it's one of those ones where it's like the more I think about it, the more it was just there in like little aspects in my life. I was talking to my mom yesterday, and I'm pretty sure like the first comic book she bought me for like a road trip or something was that old Franklin Richards and Herbie comic that looks like it's drawn like Calvin and Hobbes. And it was like that, and then the movies came out, and I distinctly remember after seeing Rise of the Silver Surfer, because that was where I was like, okay, superhero movies are superhero movies, but like there's a cosmic side to this. There's something else there that's not getting scratched yet.
Yeah.
And that started when I started with comics and getting more into the four. And then especially after Endgame, I was like, okay, we're gonna be building to Fantastic Four. They have to be introduced at some point. And that's when I really dove deep and was like getting even more into it.
Yeah. I mean, I have my own experiences, but for anyone out there who wants to hear just beginner level chat about Fantastic Four, we have a Fantastic Four 101 podcast episode. So, if anyone out there wants to catch up on what the comics are up to. But Emily, how'd you were you interested in the Fantastic Four? Like what's your experience with the franchise?
That's a great question. I think you have a great balance of guests here because I know nothing about the Fantastic Four outside of this movie.
Yeah.
I've watched all of the MCU films reluctantly, some of them, dragged my feet to some of them. I wasn't like an early adopter of the MCU franchises. I came on a little bit later on, more, solidly with things like WandaVision, which makes sense because we had the same director for this film now. So I didn't really have a lot of context outside of knowing their powers, and knowing that Jessica Alba was in one because, I have to know Jessica Alba's filmography. That's my other connection.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't really know much about their origins, their dynamics. And so this was my introduction to them really, because I also hadn't watched the previous films.
So you went in blind, essentially?
Yes. All I knew was we're going to get good music. We got a good director, and I was a fan of everyone in the cast. So I was really looking forward to seeing how they were going to, fit into the MCU.
Yeah. I mean, I've been reading comics for a long time, and when I was in an undisclosed grade, the first Fantastic Four movie came out, and I wrote a blog on my MySpace with a little movie review for it, and then that ended up getting me a teen movie critic job at the Orange County Register. So then I reviewed movies, and it was really because of that Fantastic Four review on MySpace for some reason.
That's awesome.
And so that was really cool. But I'm obviously a big fan of any comics, but I can't say that Fantastic Four was my number one. I would be lying if I said that. I would say they were a cool team. I liked it when they appeared in other people's comics, but X-Men, Spider-Man, those were my two big Marvel ones. So if the Fantastic Four is teaming up with Spider-Man, great, but it took a long time for me to get into Fantastic Four comics. And so I am not so beholden to the
purity or the adaptation of it all.
Yeah. I was like, just give me a good movie.
No, exactly.
With this movie.
Yeah. I'm right there with you too, because I'm watching this because I'm a fan of movies, and then the Fantastic Four of it all is also I'm excited to see them in action and see what they're all about.
Yeah. Shout out to obviously Darth Chaco, like I said earlier. Sarah Zitney is also in the chat. That's Miss Marauder out there. Sarah says, I think you just disclosed your age with wrote a blog on my MySpace. Yes and no. I mean, I could have been, I think I was 3 years old with a MySpace. I think that's what it was. Watching Fantastic Four, writing blogs. So you were
a toddler blogger,
exactly.
Not a teen blogger.
Yeah, there's a show Dog with a Blog. I was Baby with a Blog. So I'm just a Gen Z kid. Darth Chaco says, oddly enough, he's never really gotten into the Fantastic Four, but he is a massive Doctor Doom fanboy.
Ooh.
See, that I hear that more than anything. And honestly, that's just more testament to how big Doctor Doom himself is.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the villain for Marvel. Anybody has fought Doctor Doom at some point or another. If not him personally, a Doom bot at some point. So I definitely see why a lot of people are excited for Doctor Doom. There's also a lot of the we took one panel out of context of Doom ripping Thanos' skeleton out, and now he's my favorite character of all time.
Yeah.
But still, he's definitely in big in the power scaling community recently for sure.
I'm not a big power scaler myself, and we will get into this movie in a second. But
Yeah.
I think Doctor Doom falls in the same kind of sort of like vibe in a way. Basically, kids who think like edgelord kids who like grow up being like, oh, Fantastic Four and Superman, they're just dumb. They're just Boy Scouts. They're just too nice. They should be out just killing villains. Superman and Doomsday and Fantastic Four and Doom, I feel like there's certain types of kids that rock with Doctor Doom and Doomsday and like those like edgier villains, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's funny. I think it's nice that we're coming around with Superman and Fantastic Four to like nicer, more empathetic, compassionate heroes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it just allows the villains to shine even more as just purely villainous. And that's what I'm excited to hopefully see from Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Is that like even though he may pretend to be a hero for a minute, ultimately he has evil intentions that you don't know.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Fernanda Amalinks in the chat says, "Hey, Drew." So that's from
hey,
Drew.
how's it going?
As we kick off this episode, what would you rate this movie out of 10? Well, we do a 10 like grading scale here on the Keeg. What would you rate it? And, you know, quick thoughts why. We'll get into it as the podcast episode goes. But what would you rate this movie, Fantastic Four, First Steps, out of 10? I don't know who wants to go first. Does anyone have their because like if you're on Letterboxd, you just like
all
multiply
right, so
that
I'll
by
go
2.
out of 10. I'll start. Okay, so when I first saw it, I gave it a 10 out of 10, but I think that was ultimately just I have been waiting for a good Fantastic Four movie my entire life. And so finally getting one, I was just blown away. Ultimately, I think I would drop it down to a 9 after seeing it on rewatches. There are some minor issues, but majority of it doesn't get outweighed by how much fun you have watching this movie.
Okay. It's a good solid score. I think people also sometimes are like, if it's not a 9 or a 10, it's not worth watching. That's not like the case.
No, exactly.
That's a high scale to get
I mean, what is it?
Thing.
Even Grown Ups is on IMDb at like a 2 or something.
Is Grown Ups
There's movies that are terrible. Oh, I mean, Grown Ups is a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
It's not a cinematic masterpiece, but, you know, sometimes you just want to watch something that's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Okay. 9 out of 10.
Exactly.
Emily, do you want to go or you want
That's
me to
what
go?
I gave it.
Because I'll go.
Yeah, I can go.
Okay.
So on Letterboxd, I gave this a 3.5 out of 5. And out of 10, I would say an 8. I would lean closer to an 8. I think my quick reactions are there's some really cool things happening in this movie, performance-wise, production-wise, like the music. There's so many cool things. I love how nerdy it gets. Like I think that superhero movies are starting to swing more sci-fi heavy, so that really like got me excited in this movie. But I think there are parts of it that suffer from like the Marvelisms of it all, like trying to still retroactively fit this into like a bigger cinematic universe, and you can feel the pangs of that here and there, and that kind of like takes it out of it. I feel like it's working against itself in some points. But ultimately, like this is still a solid recommend. Like I would recommend people to watch this movie.
Yeah. I'm interested in what you mean by the Marvelisms, because I have some thoughts about it, and some people have been saying that, and some people have been saying the opposite. So I am looking forward to diving.
That's why I was interested, because I kind of think the opposite on that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely get into it. Darth Choco out there says 8 out of 10, a solid B+ for me. Darth Choco, I think, is wishing he was guesting on this episode. Just throwing out his score. Sarah Miss Marauder says 6.5 out of 10. It'll get a diploma but won't go to college. I would say
Oh, wow.
7.5. I originally had a 7. I've been thinking I originally had a 7. I've been thinking about it. I think that if I watch it again, it would either solidify a 7.5 or get me to 8 maybe. I think another rewatch I don't think I would dislike another rewatch. I think I would benefit from it. But like 7.5 for me. And I think it's really because I think this was, for better or for worse, a paint by numbers Fantastic Four movie. I think that, like, if you want a Fantastic Four movie, great. This was exactly the step by step thing that would happen. This movie could have been 6 comics, like 6 issues of a comic. This movie could have been one animated movie, and it would have been the same everything. Like, everything could just happen the same. And that's not a bad thing. To me, it's a boring thing. I think there were parts that I thought were just kind of, I zoned out on. So I think that's why it's 7.5. When it was good, it was great. And when it wasn't good, it's not that it was bad, it was just kind of boring. So I guess podcast over. Now that we threw that out
we
there.
solved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for having us.
So with quick question, with the name Fantastic Four First Steps, did you guys have any thoughts about that going in before you even saw the movie? Like what that could mean? Because with the Marvel, when Marvel does a new restart of a franchise that like was previously somewhere else, like Spider-Man, they did like the 3 home movies, right? Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Yeah.
And Homecoming was like a double entendre that Spider-Man was coming back to Marvel. Great. Fantastic Four First Steps.
Baby.
Does Baby come to mind first?
Oh yeah, that's what I instantly thought of. His First Steps is like, it's like a part of the Baby album that you see is like when the baby takes its first step. It's like a milestone in their life. So I kind of figured from the title it was going to revolve around the child. No, go ahead, Drew.
No, the interesting thing is I thought that too for a while, but now seeing the movie, Franklin doesn't walk at all in the movie until he meets Dr. Doom in the post-credits scene.
Yeah.
And so unless those first steps are those steps towards Dr. Doom, I guess, it doesn't fit as well. For me, like that kind of threw the baby idea out the window once I was like, okay, but Franklin didn't walk. Like he crawled to Sue, but he didn't walk.
But is it supposed to be literal for, like, is it just supposed to remind you of a baby? It's supposed to hearken to a baby, like,
right?
It's an allusion to a baby as opposed to like a literal baby's first steps. It's the first time the baby uses powers. It's kind of a first step.
That is true.
I thought First Steps was just a general way of saying like an origin story.
Yeah, and then they kind of throw you for a loop in the beginning because their origin story is montaged, and like that's the montages are the things that like took me out of this movie so hard. I was like, please stop montaging at me. Just I want to see them in action because they were so good when they're in it.
There was supposedly a lot.
Yeah, it definitely felt like. Oh yeah, I think we were about to say the same thing. It felt like all of the stuff that was cut out from the movie was thrown into those montages.
Yeah.
And you can even see a lot of that with like the fight that they were supposed to have with John Malkovich's The Red Ghost. A lot of those scenes seemed like it was what was thrown into that montage.
Yeah. But nothing of like him himself. We see the orangutan get kicked off a Ferris wheel or a construction site or something. And then we see the cartoon version, but there were supposedly a lot of scenes cut, and that's kind of sad, but you know.
That's interesting because I could have used another hour in this movie. I think my score would have been higher.
No, exactly.
If I got another hour, because it feels like this movie with the montages and the way that it's paced out, it feels like a Marvel show that got cut down to a movie, and I'm like, what? How we're in and out of this so quickly? Like, I really could have spent a lot more time with these characters, and I felt like the pacing really threw me off, and you can see it, you can feel the pains of that the most in those montages.
Yeah.
And maybe then the First Steps title would have felt more of like an origin story of their family unit with the new baby, because it's not an origin story of them, except for, you know, us recapping the last 4 years. I think it's been 4 years since they first had their mission, right?
Is there a timeline like that? I knew it was 4 years
Yes.
till the post credit. Is it 4 years that they've been the Fantastic Four?
Yeah, they've been Fantastic Four for 4 years.
Okay.
And then well, okay, they've been Fantastic Four for 4 years, but then at the end of the movie before the post credit, that's another year. So they've been 5 years, and then the 4 year time jump at the end. So it's a whole 9 years since they've become the Fantastic Four by the end credit scene.
Oh, that's so interesting that you say that, because one of my questions I had, so I took my notebook with me to the theater the second time. So they look crazy because I was writing in the dark.
Oh yeah.
My question was, how long were they, oh, like how long did it take them to get to Galactus, and how long did it take them to get back? I was trying to do like the interstellar like equation of like time. I'm like, it's Halloween when they leave, or like it's the
I
day after
believe they
Halloween.
said it was like a 2 month journey.
Okay, okay, I figured
Really?
as much, because we
I
start to see
think
snow when
I'm
they.
I'm not exactly sure. It was either they either said like 2 months specifically, or it was like a months long or something like that. I
Yes,
remember there was a specific as soon as they touched down.
because that means Sue would have been like 8 months pregnant when they left. You know, went
Yeah.
into labor, and then the baby came back like a month old because he wasn't like a fresh newborn anymore.
I'm gonna push back on this. I don't know whether Sue would go out into outer space knowing that she could give birth in outer space. They weren't prepared for it.
But see, time works differently, and maybe they just didn't
Right.
know where they were, how
Yeah.
time was going to affect them. Because maybe, like, you know, like in Interstellar, when they're on one planet and time is moving so much slower for them there than
Yeah.
it is on Earth. I was so curious about how their bodies were going to adjust to that. So
Yeah.
it's interesting though that like the Thing didn't grow a beard in that time. I think that would have like helped me make more sense of like how much time they were gone. Um,
Yeah.
Okay, so
but
that's throwing another wrench in it. I Chaco says it's on the news. They say it's been 2 months, but you're right that like Ben doesn't grow
Okay,
a
that's
grow a
what I thought.
beard. You know, Ben doesn't grow a beard. Also, I really don't think that Sue would risk the baby out there. And then also, Galactus is the one who puts her into labor, right?
Yeah.
she,
He like activates the power cosmic in
Franklin.
Franklin, causing her to go into labor.
Yeah. So
Scary.
technically,
So
Franklin
maybe
is before, like he's
Yeah, he
premature in
could
a
be
way.
premature.
You know, who's to say? I mean, it's not Interstellar. Christopher Nolan rules, of course.
Right.
Who knows?
yeah, and these are not like dings against the movie for me. I
Yeah.
actually like that it's making us question these things and like get into it. Like I think it's really fun that they're like not afraid to kind of explore that. Like
Yeah.
I really like that part of this.
Yeah. Um, I did you guys like the fact that there wasn't an actual
Definitely.
origin story? Like it didn't start off like the first Fantastic Four movie in like 2005 or whatever. Did you guys like not having an origin story? Did you like jumping straight into it?
So it's like I did and I didn't. I feel like we needed footage of them in space during the montage at least.
Mm-hmm.
Because like get what they were trying to do, where they were trying to be like, oh well, you know, they wouldn't have cameras on the ship, it's just the audio from ground control of them getting hit, and then footage from when the thing punches out of the ship. But I don't know, I feel like there was some good opportunity to just flesh it out just that little bit more within maybe a couple more scenes of that. Not a full origin, like not starting with all of them 4 years in the past and spending 30 minutes of the movie doing an origin.
Yeah.
And then jumping forward. But I think maybe just seeing a little bit more of what happened in space would have been a good refresher, because not everybody knows who these characters are.
Yeah.
Marvel did jump into this assuming like, okay, everybody's seen the old Fantastic Four movies. How they become the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people whose first introduction to these characters is this movie are going to just be like, okay, they went into space, something happened, and now they're these people.
Yeah.
So
Emily?
Yeah, and I'm that person who was like, "Oh, okay, I guess that's how it all happened." But I think they communicate that. That's fascinating because even if I wasn't fully aware of how their origin story started, I'm aware of the Fantastic Four, like in the ether and popular culture. And I don't want to spend the whole time comparing this to Superman, but it's like similar to Superman. Like they know that to a degree who this person is. So we're just going to jump in at this other point in time. And I think like I really enjoy that we're at this very pivotal emotional moment. And I think that's Matt Shackman coming into play and what he was able to do at WandaVision and really bring out these like character driven obstacles. Like we are focused on Sue and Reed finding out that they're pregnant after years of trying and not being able to. Like there's so much already they're communicating about their family and how they love each other and how they support each other. And I thought that was so cool because I can Google what happened, like how did they get their powers, but to actually see their relationship like in action, I thought was so awesome. Like they communicated so much in all of their like scenes together. I thought they were so fantastic, like their chemistry, like Pedro Pascal has never been nerdier. And seeing him like act so small, and he's usually like this really big presence, is was really cool to see.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I think that like what I would have liked is a little bit more of Eben, what's his Eben,
Moss Backrack.
Evan Moss Batroc.
yeah. Eben Moss Backrack as a human being, like before he was changed. Like
Yeah.
it would have been nice to see him not as the Thing, so that we can kind of see that, see that he's the same guy. Because I think that's what this movie was showing, is like, oh, he's the Thing, but he's like still the same guy, regardless of his rocket career.
Exactly.
I just think it's interesting that I'm trying to think about when the last time we got an actual superhero origin movie. And I'm not complaining because I don't like superhero origin movies. But like Superman, the Batman, both of them didn't have their origin movies. Spider-Man didn't. Fantastic Four didn't. I just think it's interesting.
Shang-Chi is probably the last origin movie we got.
Yeah, but even then, it's not like, because he doesn't really have powers, right? Like you see flashbacks and it's just kind of like he's in it, right?
It's not exactly, because no, that was just him getting the 10 rings.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
So I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, I think like James Gunn pointed out, there's just some stories that people maybe don't want to see anymore, and I think part of that I respect because it, when you're doing an adaptation, I think something that I get caught up on sometimes is like we're trying to do the same thing we already did but better, and that's cool, that's fine, but like sometimes it kind of erases the legacy of what came before. And maybe those other Fantastic Four movies aren't amazing, from what I've heard. I've only heard gripes, but I know some people do enjoy them. And maybe they have their own space in the cinema history of the Fantastic Four. And I like that this movie isn't trying to erase that. It's like, here's a different story. We already have that.
Yeah.
So maybe and looking at it as a movie legacy that they're creating, I think I respect that part of it because they're not just trying to like run over what's already been established.
Yeah, I mean the original Fantastic Four movies are kind of corny and cheesy, but they are what they are. Like it is what it is.
They're fun.
They're fun.
They're fun movies for sure.
Yeah. If you must know, on MySpace, I gave it a B. the first Fantastic Four movie.
Wow, you were already a critique.
Yeah.
Critic.
Wow.
You know, as a baby with a MySpace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeg first steps.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Did you guys have a favorite character? We could talk about all the characters in this. I think it very heavily focuses on 4, but
I mean, Sue Storm, like everything
Yeah, I'd
Vanessa
have to
Kirby
say
did in this
Sue.
movie, I cried.
really,
Like I did. I cried, and cried when she's giving birth in the spaceship. Her anguish, her power, like making the ship invisible between contractions. I'm like, oh my god, what can't women do? It was just such a really awesome scene, and she really sold it. And then again, all of that effort that she was going toe to toe with Galactus, I was like, who is this woman? Why haven't we seen more of her? Like this was really her time to shine, and I was so interested after
Going through and seeing Sue Storm, like you said, giving birth in the ship while having to turn it invisible, while fighting the Silver Surfer, then coming back to Earth and being the only one of the 4 that can unite the entire planet to team together to fight Galactus, and then beating Galactus in the end. Like this was such a good redemption for Sue Storm from the early 2000s movies. This is a woman who, again, can turn a ship invisible while giving birth. And in the early 2000s, she couldn't turn her clothes invisible.
oh
She would
no,
get
I did see
naked so
that scene.
she could walk through a crowd. Yeah. So this is just such a, not only like such an amazing performance from Vanessa Kirby, but such a massive leap forward for the character in general, that it's, every time I watch it, I'm just blown away by the performance.
yeah. I mean,
Yes.
I knew Vanessa Kirby was going to be great in this. Mostly because when somebody brought up her idea, like her as a fan cast, I was like, oh yeah, that's perfect. Like, so I thought she did really good in this. I need people, and I haven't seen it yet. I need this to be a thing. I came out of the movie telling Miss Marauder and the rest of the people I was with, I need people to do the, you know how like when she's pushing Galactus and she does the backward,
Serving
she goes,
space?
well, there's
The whole
the backwards thing. It's like the Matrix, but like she's pushing.
So
Yeah.
fire. So
You know,
fire.
I
That
need
was
more
like
of that.
I looked closely at the second watch. I was
Yeah.
like, is she being supported by something? I'm like, no, that girl is just flexible and she's engaged in her core and she's giving it everything to show how much
Yeah.
force she's exerting from her body to do this. So it makes the action that's following that, like her life force visibly leaving her body because it's like smoke coming out of her mouth when she's on the ground. You're like, she just gave everything. She just gave everything in this scene, and it was really powerful. I mean, I'm really curious for like Drew, knowing that you're a parent, like the idea of moving heaven and earth, like the Archimedes quote they kept dropping in the movie, and then like the idea of like the Fantastic Four are not just parents to Franklin, but parents to the entire planet, and what they're willing to sacrifice for their family. I feel like they just really sold that family story so well.
No, exactly. The family dynamic in it was just so well done. It was so believable. Even just like the little amounts of dialogue between the characters in small moments was just typical like sibling banter. And I don't know. It's so much of it. It's so great to see the characters finally be done correctly.
Yeah. She was an ambassador, right? Like the idea that she's an ambassador, a diplomat, she works with people. I mean, her relationship to Mole Man, which was set up in a flashback / montage, and then capitalized on when we need them in Act 3. Super important. I thought, like, again, she was the opposite of incapable. she was super capable, you know?
Yeah. Yes. And she
Was
even like
arguably the most capable.
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah. Sarah in the chat says, as a F4 newbie, Sarah was confused by her powers. She has invisibility, force fields, and power blasts. Yes. She's not just invisible, she can create like invisible constructs, which also are kind of like, she can make them into blasts, essentially.
So cool.
Yeah.
She
And
can
she can
also
like
make them into things like daggers and swords and stuff like that when she tries.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, we saw some really cool applications of everybody's powers in this movie, I thought.
oh yeah. I was like I again new to Fantastic Four, just like our friend in the comments here. But I didn't know that Johnny Storm could also like suck in fire, and I was like, this is so helpful of a skill to have. Like
So,
as someone who lives in Southern California, I was like,
yeah.
this is really emotional watching you be able to
Yeah.
like extinguish this fire. It was really really cool.
I'll be honest, I don't know whether I remember him ever doing that. Drew, are you familiar? Has Johnny been able to absorb fire before?
I don't believe I've seen it.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I don't believe so.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's new.
So that's kind of new.
Wow, cool.
But again, as soon as I say that, somebody will come into the comments and go, well, actually, in this panel in 1975, he did it right here. So
yeah. I wanna talk about what Sarah is saying in the comments right now, because I think that I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Sarah says that she did not feel the family dynamic in the movie. That she felt like they were telling us they were a family, but she didn't feel it. How did you guys feel about that?
Um, I mean, I felt it in so many different ways. I think it's the very quiet moments that like really sold it. And I like that the movie wasn't afraid to be quiet in some sections. Like, it's a big Marvel introduction movie. You know, there's going to be some big battles later on, but it's really important to see what they do in the quiet moments. So even the opening scene when like Sue Storm's on the toilet and like Reed Richards is looking for something in the bathroom and she's like, "It's not there, babe. I know where it's at." Like that little
Yeah.
shorthand is like, okay, they do this often. Like he's Mr. Fantastic and he's so smart and brilliant, but he can't find the yellow iodine. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't know where it's at. Sue
Yeah.
Storm knows where it's at. Like those little things. And like I like that every character had a moment alone with each other at some point. So like you can see how like Johnny and Reed interact and their dynamic together with the building the spacesuit.
Mm-hmm.
Even Ben and Reed have a moment before they have their big launch just to like say, hey, we got this. Like it's going to be okay. Like checking in emotionally with each other. I think those parts, and of course, everyone picking on Johnny because he's the baby.
Yeah.
The girl, the girl, crazy baby. Like all those little things, like made me feel, like they were close.
Yeah.
But what I'm curious about Drew, because you already know this family dynamic from like the comics. Like, what is this like
Oh, yeah.
close
no,
or is, what did you think?
this is perfect to what the family dynamic is in the comic. I mean, they're dysfunctional at times, but they love each other. And you could just feel the love that they have for each other, even in moments where they're annoyed, specifically with Johnny. You can feel that love that they have, especially with the scene between Reed and Johnny with the spacesuits. You can tell that that's very much like, I do not want to hang out with my younger brother-in-law right now. Why do I have to do this? But at the same time, I love this guy and I'm going to put up with it for my wife. Like that's a very normal thing that happens. Like a lot of these family moments were just very typical everyday family moments. The putting the car seat in the car, Johnny spoiling his dinner by eating Lucky Charms when they're literally walking out to eat dinner as he's doing it. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many different moments of this felt and more like a just a sitcom at times.
I would say a sitcom, but also dialed back a little bit in a good way, right? Like,
Yeah,
again,
no, definitely.
in the original, I mean, quote unquote original, like 2005 or 4 or whatever it was, movie, like they really ham it up. Like they ham up, like it's very much like, baby brother, stop going with those
Yeah.
supermodels. We need you at home. You said you would wash the dishes.
Okay, a little bit more cheesy.
It's
Yeah.
This one, I feel like you got
They're,
the.
all the characters are very one note.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I'm just laughing again when he's trying to describe what Shala Ball or Silver Surfer said to him in space. And they're like, what's the context? And he was like, it was warm, but kind. And I saw my face in her face and the stars. And they're like picking up, like, oh, okay, this is not something we can reliably, rely on you to deliver this message because you're like caught up in your like crush on the
yeah.
Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Johnny, because they do something different in this movie which they don't normally do, and I liked it. Darth Chaco says, "I'm just happy they made Johnny smart." Normally, he's not smart. Sometimes sometimes he's dumb, and sometimes he's just a one note womanizing sort of guy. Like Chris Evans, when he played him, he was into like motorsports and bikini babes, and like that was Chris Evans' Johnny Storm. And in this, I could see like he would date the Silver Surfer if he could, like legitimately date, you know? Like he would have a relationship. But he was also an astronaut. They all 4 of them were capable, competent astronauts. And then he goes and deciphers the piece of language and learns how to speak it for her, which, by the way, should every guy out there should be doing that for their girl, by the way. You know?
I was gonna say, show a little effort. If he could, if he wanted to, he would. This man straight up learned her whole language for her. Like,
yeah.
It was very romantic.
Yeah.
I know he wasn't doing it just to pursue a romantic interest, but it was a romantic gesture.
Yeah. How did you guys feel about Johnny Storm? Drew, I mean, did you like that change?
Oh, I loved Johnny in this movie. And I was not somebody who was a big like, oh, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, this is gonna be great. I actually apologize for any of the hate I spread. Just so good. They definitely got the like youthful charm of Johnny while not making him just like an asshole, which is what the 2005 Fantastic Four did. Like, yeah, he's a prankster and he's gonna annoy the other members of the Fantastic Four, like with the whole, he has the toy from the cereal box, flame on, flame on, flame on, flame on, until Ben has to crush it. And yeah, that's being an annoying little brother, but that's not being like, oh, look at this freak of nature, Ben, let's make fun of him. Or even worse, like the Fant Four Stick movie where he's like the thing that nobody wants. And it's like, why are you
says that?
Yeah, when they're like, let's come up with a name before the whole like it's fantastic thing. He's like, how about a guy and a girl are the thing that nobody wants? It's like,
well, that's
not even funny,
movie,
Johnny.
The Fant Four Stick movie was dark and just bad, and they like it was that era of superhero movies where they needed things to be like dark and serious to be.
Yeah,
everyone's trying to be Christopher Nolan.
Yeah,
exactly.
Everyone wanted to be the Dark Knight.
It's like everything's edgy. Everything is like nobody likes anyone. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Johnny. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
I think there's a good line between being annoying and being harmful or like an a brat. And I think I like that the family fights. Like that there is some discomfort, there's someone right disrespectful or trying to hurt each other's feelings. Like Sue is not afraid to confront Reed. They put Johnny in his place when he needs to be put in his place, but like nobody is ever condescending. And I feel like we need to see more representations of families challenging each other like that. Like it's okay if things aren't always smooth sailing. It's okay to challenge your family members. I think it's important to challenge people more often than just pushing them out of your life and not, getting resolution together. So I really like that they weren't afraid to challenge each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Drew cut out. I'm sure he'll come back. Uh, is he back? Did he just come back?
Franklin revived you?
Yeah. It's like, oh no. So here's a good question out there. And Sarah asks in the comments, question for the F4 experts. Did Johnny's intelligence come at the cost of Sue's intelligence? Has she always been more of a diplomat as opposed to an academic? Sarah also says that I feel like all her beats were more emotional or mom or wife moments. And so here's a quick summation of Sue from what I what I know of Sue's history. Originally in the comics, she is known as the Invisible Girl. She is an adult, but she is known as the Invisible Girl, and she can't really use her powers that well, and she's into fashion, and like she doesn't do much. She just happened to be on the ship when it got struck by cosmic rays. Same with Johnny. Johnny's like 16, 17. They snuck on the ship. They didn't need to be astronauts, so they didn't need to be capable. The only two capable people on the ship in the comics originally in the comics were Reed and Ben. Now, what ended up happening over time is Invisible Girl what then became known as Invisible Woman, but she still wasn't really given much as far as like competent, capable backstory. Later on, and I think even in the Fantastic Four movie, they make her a scientist. So some adaptations make Sue a scientist. Right now in the comics, she's an archaeologist. Like she has an archaeology background, which they've been trying to use in certain stories. She's never really been a diplomat per se. So that's a new thing that they've put in for the movie, which I think works really well for her character. Drew, do you have any thoughts about Sue, like Sue's evolution throughout the comics?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was you go back to those early Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, um,
Hey Drew, sorry, Drew, your internet might be going in and out.
she does not have really anything to do. I mean, it to the that God, what a storm. Okay.
Sorry. You're a little delayed behind us, and then it was going in and out.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Am I working?
You are?
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we back? Okay, good.
I think
Sorry
so.
about that.
It's all right.
All right. All right, we are good. All right.
Okay.
But no, so
saying about Sue. Is it cutting out for you too, Emily?
yeah, Sue Storm. No, it was to the point that like you can look at Jack Kirby's story. She's basically two separate characters from the writing and the art. So has gone on, and she's also such a versatile character because of that. You can make her a scientist, you can make her an archaeologist, you can make her a diplomat, as long as she is something where she is at the forefront and actively being the most like, okay, let's go, let's get this done person in the room. It kind of does matter where you put Sue Storm for an occupation, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
she can be a scientist and archaeologist, but she worked just as well as a diplomat. And one of the biggest things about Sue Storm is her empathy. It's her ability to connect to other characters, and that works so in a diplomatic sense. And so it was such a good decision in my a good decision in my eyes on Matt Shackman and Marvel's part to do that with the character.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. I think it's interesting that the comment was about like the domestic role that Sue had, because I saw the opposite. Like I felt like the domestic the I it was interesting that this is set in a retrofuturistic world, but we weren't beholden to like retro what it looked like back then as far as like the people and diversity. We weren't beholden to like women didn't belong in the workplace because women were out in the workplaces in this world. Like we weren't like going to 50s in a bad way. But it was
Yeah.
just like the look that informed the architecture and the style and the look of it. But we also see like a lot of the men doing the domestic labor. You have Ben cooking for everybody. You have Herbie building the crib when it should be Reed. You have them like putting in the car seat and like finding these different ways to like show up for Sue,
Mhm.
and that makes sense. Like it's sometimes it gets too muddled of like, oh, women need to be the heroes, and like women need to look and act a certain way, and like even by wanting more representation, sometimes we're our own downfall because we put people in a pigeonhole situation of what it should look like or not look like. And you learn very from the beginning that Sue was okay not being a mom. She had already mourned that part of her life, but now it was a surprise and they were going to embrace it fully. And um you don't really see that changing her life all that much. She's still going to work. She's still a diplomat in the public eye. You do get a few moments with her and Reed, and he's like rubbing like some salve on her belly, which is like that's nice to see because yeah, that would happen. But yeah, I felt like even though she was on her way to becoming a mom, she was still very much a woman who had her own career and her own life, and it didn't like feel like it affected her alone. It affected the entire family, and they were all working together
Mhm.
in that way.
I would say definitely like the movie would not happen without some of the choices that Sue makes for the better. She's the
Mm.
one who gets Mole Man and Subterranea. She has that idea. She brings him in. She's the one who kind of links all the countries together, gets them to work together. She also speaks to the crowd. I feel like kind of Reed thinks very broadly in this movie. He's trying to solve a big problem with equations and he's thinking very macro. And you see it in the first scene where she's like, find the, what was it, yellow iodine or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, find it. And he's looking
Aloe
everywhere,
iodine.
right? But she knows exactly where it is. She's able to pinpoint things. So I think that like she's very deliberate and micro with her choices in a good way. Like she's attacking problems very, very focused wise, right? In a very
Yeah.
focused way, which could also be a metaphor to her powers, right? Like it's analogous that she has to focus and to she uses a I didn't catch this, I read this online. She uses her powers to create a lens that
Oh,
Johnny
the flame.
fires through and blinds Galactus. I didn't notice that the first time around, but she does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does that in the
Yeah.
movie, which I thought was cool. Was Drew gonna?
Yeah, she basically makes just a giant magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
you hear
an
me?
ant.
Yeah.
yeah. Drew, you're like 10 seconds, I think, behind us.
Yes.
Just so you know.
No.
We're warping space and time here. It's a wormhole. And
Yeah.
you're like you're like, rounding out
Yeah.
the wormhole
Um,
with us.
Emily, as
Yeah.
a first time Fantastic Four viewer, watcher, whatnot, did you have questions about this movie? Like, was there anything that stuck out that was
Exactly.
like, a big question mark?
Yes, I did have some questions, and my partner was able to answer some of them, but some things that I wanted to bring up for any other casual Fantastic Four Marvel fans. I the first time and second time I watched this, I clocked Latveria, and I was like, where is this place, and why aren't they at the meetings when we're talking about how to save the world? So I looked up that Victor Von Doom is from this country,
Uh-huh.
this fictional country. Does that mean, my question therefore is, does that mean that Doctor Doom is from Earth 828?
Nobody knows, and I think that anyone who claims that they know is is kind of kidding themselves right now, because
Mm,
what we do know, we know a couple of things. We know that sure, Doctor Doom's in the post credit scene. We know that Avengers Doomsday is about Doctor Doom. Some people
yes.
assume that Avengers Secret Wars that comes later has to do with Doctor Doom as well, because the comic has to do with Doctor Doom. But
Mm,
it's faulty logic, because the Age of Ultron comic is nothing like the Age of Ultron movie. It just has the same name. It's not the same
okay.
plot. So the idea that people can like extrapolate a plot for a movie from the title, I don't know. But Latveria is Doctor Doom's home country, his fictional country. He's the ruler of it. And in the end, we kind of see Doctor Doom, but we don't know exactly what's going to happen here.
Okay.
Everybody has their theories, right? And we know
Yeah.
that Robert Downey Jr. is supposed to play Doctor Doom, but I am going to cast doubt on that. I have never, even though he was announced to play Doctor Doom, I don't know whether I believe that he is the Doctor Doom.
Mm.
That's what I think.
He's like a variant.
I think he's a variant. I would hope he's a variant, because I think we need a Doctor Doom that's not Robert Downey Jr. But also, Drew, I think you might still be frozen, but I'm not sure. I think it's interesting we don't see his face in the post-credit scene, but
I know.
he's supposed to be paid millions of dollars to play this role, and they couldn't get him to do a 5-second scene showing his face
Listen.
when we already know that he is playing Doom.
That's the first like Marvelism thing that jumped out at me too. I was like, really? We did not need this post-credit scene because it didn't do anything for me. I mean, we had a quick chuckle seeing that, Franklin likes The Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. That's cute.
Yeah.
But then like you have this like cop out of like not showing Doctor Doom's face when it's been public knowledge for a while that it's Robert Downey Jr. and we know the movie's coming. So it's like even I had to suspend disbelief too because even when Sue Storm dies, you're like she's not really dead. She, they're going to be in the other movies.
I don't
So
know.
like I find like it took like some of the dramatic wind out of my sails for them. Like having the knowledge of like what is to come.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of worked against itself in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But they did leave her dead for a while. I did doubt it. I was like, she's been dead for like minutes.
Yeah.
It was really dramatic.
I look again. I like to go into it, even though I know what's going to happen. We don't know how things are going to happen. For instance,
True.
like I thought she could have died there, and that they would bring her back in Avengers Doomsday. Let's just say.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I get that.
I mean, I think I wouldn't have liked it because I think they would have killed the only woman on the team just to bring her back. Sure. But also, I don't know, like, kind of like how in Avengers Infinity War, half the people disappear, and we know that Spider-Man is going to come back for another movie. Like, they already announced Spider-Man's movie. So we were like, okay, he's going to come back. For me, it's like the journey. I know that he dies, but he's going to come back. But like, what are we getting out of this? So I thought maybe Sue Storm would die and it would lead to something else. But I
I
kind of forgot
see.
that Franklin had powers.
Yeah, that was my kind of leads me to my other question as far as like the universe of this. So, my other big question, and I really hope Drew is online for this too because I'd like to know. So, we see in the montage the Fantastic Four have had their powers for 4 years. And now they become Earth's
I think
heroes.
I got the thing figured out.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got it figured out?
you might still be delayed,
Oh
Drew.
no, I think I might still be behind. Please no. Am I good?
I can hear you.
No.
You're delayed a little bit.
Why?
Oh,
It's the black holes. It's the time
Yeah.
warps.
it is.
That's what it is. You know. What were you asking, Emily? If you want to pose the question, and then maybe
Oh, yes.
Drew might be able to jump in on this one. Yeah.
We're gonna hope.
Okay, hoping. So my other question is, they've become Earth's heroes in those 4 years, and they're attacking all of these big monsters, kaiju-like things. Where did those monsters come from, and who was protecting Earth before the Avengers? I mean, sorry, before the Fantastic Four. Like, were they just were these just everyday occurrences before that, or did like great heroes bring on great villains? I don't know.
I want Drew to be able to jump in on this if he can.
Yeah.
If not, that's okay. I will.
I'll ask that he makes a video about this and post it.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's a good question. I think that. Oh, he's joining on another thing. Ooh, he split
Oh,
himself into two.
he's multiplied.
Let's see if this works a little better. My answer to this is that like because they
There's
were the only
two.
heroes on their world, I think that
Oh, there we go.
like yes, when heroes of a certain technology appear, then other people pick up on that technology or those developments. In the Fantastic Four comic, they were coming out of like the nuclear age in real life, right? Like nuclear power was like a thing. This is post World War II in the comics. So the idea that nuclear power is like the next big thing. Fantastic Four, it's cosmic rays, but like the idea that like technology is advancing at such a crazy rate, I think that brings out the villains and whatnot. And sometimes in the comics, what ends up happening is these monsters that are living in subterranea come out because of like explosions, testing, that sort of thing. Kind of like just classic Godzilla stuff, right?
Yeah.
Kaijus as a concept are kind of linked to nuclear like experimentation and that sort of thing. But just like there's a smart man like Reed, there's gonna be smart evil people. So
True.
who knows what this world had? Drew, you good?
Okay, we are gonna hope that I am up to speed now. I think it looks like it's working.
Okay.
We're gonna hope it doesn't dip out.
Did you hear
So
what?
real quick, refresher on the question, and then I'll go in.
Yeah, Emily, you want to ask the question again?
Yes, my question was prior to the Fantastic Four getting their powers, becoming fantastic, in the montage they're fighting all these monsters. I'm curious, before they became fantastic, were those monsters part of their world? Like, were they already getting attacked? Or did, like, them becoming fantastic kind of invite, like, monsters to come as well?
So I think I kind of heard Dimithri talk about it a little bit, but like he said, a lot of it is very much Godzilla-esque. Like, oh, there's testing, we're doing stuff on the surface world, so these monsters are starting to come up. A lot of it is also for Marvel Comics in general before they got big into before the Fantastic Four and started the whole Marvel age of superheroes. Marvel was putting out a ton of big like monster kaiju comics. And so a lot of those characters, it still technically would take place on that same world for some of those stories. So there were a lot of these like large beings that popping up around Earth that then led to more humans becoming heroes or mutants popping up more in mass. Um, I do also know that for the specific monster that we see in the movie, which is, I believe,
I think it's Giganto. Yeah.
Oh,
because
okay.
he is technically a deviant, which is the same things that we saw in the Eternals movie.
Oh, cool.
The bad guys in the Eternal movie. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They retconned
that's
that. That was a
also
retcon
where
later,
some of
right?
these, yeah, I believe so.
You know who was also started off as just a huge kaiju monster that then got retconned into somebody different is Groot. Groot
Yeah.
was originally just this big tree monster from the planet X, and then later they retconned him into the Groot that we know. So
with the help of Vin Diesel.
with the help of Vin Diesel. Groot would be nothing without Vin Diesel.
The family man.
Yeah.
Okay. I had one more question. It could be very quick. I saw posters for an in-universe movie called Sub-Zero Intel. Is that a nod to anything?
No.
Or is that just like a fun recognition of like Subterranea?
No, I mean Sub-Zero sounds like ice related stuff, right? Like temperature.
Yeah.
But I think what they did with this movie, which was kind of cool, they treated it like Spider-Verse did with Miles Morales in his universe, where it's not Coca-Cola, it's something else. Like everything
it's
that
Coca Soda, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Soda Cola, maybe. But like it's the things that actually did come out in the real world 60s, but they change it to because it's an alternate universe. I that's what I got from the Fantastic Four movie.
Okay, so maybe it's a nod to an actual movie, like with a similar title from our time. Okay, that's cool. I was just wondering because they showed it a few times, and I was like, But I like
it seemed like it would be like a '60s spy thriller.
Yeah, like a 007 almost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, according to like IGN, they were saying that the names of the movies are just like named in the style of 60s movies, which is Sub-Zero Intel, or there was a couple other ones that they were saying. Sunrise in Minsk, and the Emperor's Twin. Attack of the Fungus. They were saying like that's a sign there. Could be a a reference to Last of Us. Who knows?
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, a little bit of art direction, like decisions. I like that too. I think they did a really great job with the world building in this one.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I do want to touch on what you guys thought about Galactus and the Silver Surfer. Was it? Well, here's a question. Here's a question for Emily, because Emily is a first-time viewer. Is Galactus
let's start there.
Is Galactus? What do you think about Galactus?
Well, I will say I'll give myself a little more credit because I do play a lot of Marvel Snap on my phone, so that's my introduction to a lot of characters, and like their powers is just how I can play the cards.
Yeah.
So I did know about Galactus. I did not know how big he was. So that kind of like triggered some megalophobia, whatever that's called, when you're like scared of whales underwater. Like seeing like when they were approaching the planet and like, oh my God, it gave me chills. I'm like, oh my God, it's so creepy. And Ralph Ineson as him is so menacing. Like you kind of think, are you going to be scared of a monster who's just hungry? Like that's not scary, right? No, no, no. Like the way that it was so simple that all he wanted to do was devour things, that made it scary because it's like you can't reason. He's not a killmonger where like you can like empathize with him and like reason with him and maybe like talk him out of some stuff. Like no, no, no. This guy's gonna do what he wants.
Yeah.
And that was terrifying. I thought Galactus was scary. I was not expecting that because usually we have like these like anti-hero type of villains that you can kind of connect with or empathize with in Marvel movies, and this was not one that I wanted to talk to.
Yeah. Drew, how do you feel about Galactus?
Oh my God. I have never been happier to be a comic book fan than seeing Galactus like that on the big screen. I mean, I was blown away. Just as you said, Emily, my wife literally turned to me when they first revealed him on his ship and just went, I think I just unlocked a new fear because he's that massive. And they got, because they filmed so much of it practically, it looks so real that your brain kind of starts freaking out a little bit that you're looking at a person at that size. But even like as a comic book fan, man, the references, him talking about his origin, being the only survivor of the previous universe, that was perfect. When he first arrives on Earth, like when he jumps off, well, jumping off of his ship into the water was crazy. But like there's a moment where he's walking around New York where he's like bent down weirdly. I think it's when he goes to pick up the grass and like sniff it.
Yeah.
But it's like shot for shot a Jack Kirby panel from like the coming of Galactus he's in this like weird pose, but it's so distinct, like it's so identifiable when you see it. But the second I saw him like pose, that's Galactus. Like Jack Kirby would be crying if he could see this because of just how well they were able to do him in scale, in backstory, all of it.
Yeah. Um,
But
were you gonna say something, Emily?
it just makes me so happy, like that someone who legitimately knows and loves Fantastic Four, like got something that feels so true to what you know. That just makes me so happy. I'm so like happy for you and all of your
Yeah.
investment
Well,
over the
when we've been
years.
in hell as Fantastic Four fans for these past couple years. So,
Yeah. Um, I think a lot of superheroes, a lot of superhero movies in the past or superhero adaptations, so not just movies but like TV shows too, were kind of ashamed to be comic book related. Like they were like you hear it in interviews a lot of the time. They're like, we like Superman, but we want him to like not have capes and not fly. And that's Smallville, right? Like, let's see it, but like no flights, no tights is what they used to say. Like they were ashamed of that comic book aspect. They wanted something either edgy or realistic. Some like Christopher Nolan's Batman movies. I love Batman. I love Christopher Nolan. They were great, but they weren't the like they're not what I think of when I think of like the best Batman that could be, you know? Um because they were kind of ashamed to be superhero movies. And so just a little backstory, Emily, in the Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer, so the second one, so like 2007 maybe.
Hmm.
Galactus was a cloud. He was a cloud, a space cloud that would devour planets by covering it and digesting it that way.
Like the like jean jacket and Nope.
Jean Jacket wasn't a
pretty much.
no. Well, Jean Jacket was like a ship that was like behind the cloud. Anyway, but no, he was like a dust storm,
Okay.
like a space dust storm,
Yeah, like a cosmic.
like
Cosmic
multiple
cloud.
particles, right? And
Okay.
that's because they were
And his
like,
shadow would form the helmet.
oh yeah, that was
Oh.
their way of being like, well, we can't have this purple guy walking around.
Dang. Okay, so you know, with Superman, with Fantastic Four, it seems like we're letting the nerds kind of reclaim this space. Like it's okay to be sci-fi heavy. It's okay to have bright colors and like be true to the comic books and spirit. Like I feel like both of these movies feel like we're pushing towards something that feels like You know, we were trying to our edgy phase for a while, and now we're okay of, being more like nerdy, being more
And
comic accurate.
that's where I think the first steps title kind of does play in, because it does feel like it's the first steps for Marvel into fully embracing the characters, the comics, what has been done before, and stop the whole being ashamed. Like, I've seen people already say, like, one of the things that's going to piss me off the most from Doomsday is when the Fantastic Four show up and all of these people in the over-designed militarized suits go, "Why are you guys wearing pajamas?" And it's like, well, they look the best out of everybody here. There's not line work that doesn't need to be there. It so more, and I'm definitely hoping we see more stuff like this from Marvel in the future with their projects.
Yeah. Let's talk about the future and the projects and whatnot. Like, we see a post-credit scene of Doom, but we don't see him again, which makes me doubt that it's Robert Downey Jr. I'll say that right now. I don't buy into the fact that, like, Robert Downey is the Doom. Otherwise, they would just use him for everything, and they've already announced him, so it's not a secret. So why didn't they just use him in the post-credit scene? Who knows? But where are we going with the Fantastic Four? Where do you guys think we're going with the Fantastic Four next?
I know Drew probably has a better answer. So I'm just gonna say this. I really hope we see a Shalabal again. Silver Surfer, Julia Garner. She was so good in her performance. I kind of hate that they gave us like the little flashback of her and her like human body, because like her performance already of like crying when she could hear the deep space messages, audio clips that Johnny Storm had recorded. Like that already communicated so much to me about who she was. And that's another thing Matt Shackman does, is like use women's trauma in that way. Scarlet Witch again, and then you see this, and you have that theme of sacrifice for your child or for your planet, on the shoulders of the women. And Julia Garner was just so good, and she was so compelling and so strong. She was surfing a wormhole. She was surfing a wormhole. She was surfing through lava.
Yeah.
Like, she was so cool. I was like, who is this girl? I need more of her.
She was really cool. Like, the haters were hating because she wasn't a guy, but like, it would have been the same thing if it was Norrin Rad, a male Silver Surfer, except with the female Silver Surfer, we get a mirror to Sue Storm and what you're willing to give up for your child.
Yeah, and the baddest line read of any MCU movie, I herald his beginning. Oh my god. Like, come on. It was worth it alone for that.
Definitely.
Where do we
No,
yeah, what were you gonna say, Drew?
oh, I was just saying, for me looking into the future, and I think Emily kind of said a little bit with it, mostly with Matt Shackman, how he likes to explore women's trauma. And not only that, but Vanessa Kirby has said it multiple times before the movie came out, while doing press for the movie. She wants to do Malice. And I think that we saw stuff in this movie that hints towards it when she's giving birth and screams at Johnny to just kill the Silver Surfer. That had some force. Her voice basically dropped an octave at certain points when she's there. I could see, especially with if Doctor Doom ends up taking Franklin, and that keeps Sue from her children for a while. Could possibly, I don't know if Marvel Studios would do this and Disney would do this, but it's been 4 years since Franklin's birth. She could be pregnant again.
Yeah.
And the events of Doomsday and Secret Wars cause her to miscarry. That's a massive part of what leads her into the Malice arc.
Mm.
Um, her conversation with Reed about how even when he's not trying to, just him being him hurts her. That's a massive point of the arc of her turning into Malice and having to overcome those insecurities and to understand that she's having those feelings. And also, hopefully, we could rectify that arc's end by not just having Reed Richards be a sexist asshole to Sue to get her out of being evil by
Right.
being like, you're just a stupid woman. And that breaks her out of it somehow. But I would love to see how Matt Shackman could do that, just with how much love and care him and Vanessa Kirby have put into Sue. I think that's, and it seems like they might be keeping her as the front
You're breaking up, Drew.
focus for the main fantastic.
Yeah. Just a little backstory. Emily is Malice is essentially evil Sue, like
Like Dark Phoenix.
kind of. And the question, I mean, something that Drew
Yep.
brought up with Matt Shackman and whatnot, like, would he do it again now that Wanda has already gone
Mhm.
evil? Would we repeat that same? Would it almost be the same note? Like it's a woman and her child is missing, and she goes evil. It would almost be too much of the same thing. Maybe they could switch it up by making her look like she's gonna go evil, but rather show control, because her whole power is control, right? And it's focus. It's everything. So who knows?
Mhm.
You know, we do see at the end of the Thunderbolts movie that a ship comes out of nowhere, and that it looks like the Excelsior, the ship. And so whether they're gonna that ties
Right.
in
Well,
with
the thing is,
Doomsday,
it's,
who knows?
What were you gonna say, Drew?
I think I'm breaking up again.
No, you're actually You're perfect right now.
Okay. Oh no. Well, the fun thing with Malice is that it's not necessarily, her turning evil as much as her being manipulated by
Oh. Her Malice is her being manipulated.
Malice is her, yeah.
Villains troll.
Mm.
It basically just manipulates her into thinking all the worst things and digging deeper into her insecurities.
Oh,
Well,
it
that's
also has to
a
do with Psycho Man.
Yeah, it's
that's a
Psycho
regular
Man, which
occurrence
also
for
could be an
me.
introduction for negative zone stuff.
Yeah.
Dope.
So there's a lot of stuff obviously we can go through it. That's my big thing is
Yeah.
I need to see more of this, and I want to see them expand and like do more with these characters, because I think that like this essentially was to me an origin story, and maybe that's why I rate it a little bit less than I normally would, because it to me it was a little slow to get started for me, and so
I agree with you. I feel like we didn't have a starting point. My favorite like 30, 40 minutes or however long it is in the movie is when they're in space.
yeah,
I was like, "Oh, the movie's getting
Mm-hmm.
started now." And it like takes a while to get in there and then we come back and then it montages through like building the things we need for teleportation up until the last battle. So
yeah.
it's like but the space sequence, oh my God, was so good. I really want them to lean more into that, like having these like adventures and seeing people in action in this way. And that not necessarily need a big battle every single time, but like seeing characters working together to problem solve and like in those high intensity moments, like, Sue was giving birth or trying to triangulate the stars and figuring out where to go while they're in this wormhole and we're running out of fuel and there's like a lot of things happening that like that was a really cool moment, and I feel like if we could lean more into those possibilities, that would be great. I think I also heard like Spider-Man might be going back to like street level crime.
In his new movie, he's supposed to go street level. Yeah.
And I'm excited to see that. I'm like, yeah, let's see friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like, because I need a happy ending Spider-Man movie. Like, just one. Okay, I cannot. Those movies break my heart.
Yeah.
I just need one good feeling Spider-Man movie in the future, please.
Yeah. I I like the idea, and I hope that these studios, both DC and Marvel, don't get the wrong idea. I think they're on the right track. We don't need all superhero movies to be like light and goofy and whatever. But there are certain characters, certain stories that are of that genre. But like a character like Punisher, we don't need him to have like a goofy movie, you know? But like the idea that like this movie explores a genre that they haven't really had a chance to explore in this way is really good. And that's the way that like you fight the superhero bubble bursting, is making superhero not a genre in and of itself. Like you can put superheroes in every single genre that we can think of to create new genres and new subgenres. And that's what I think Marvel, when Marvel's firing on all cylinders, that's what they're doing. They're making a political thriller with Winter Soldier. They're making a heist movie with Ant-Man. They're making, you know, a Shakespearean sort of tragedy with Thor, right? Like they're doing all that, and then James Gunn does his own thing with like a space opera with Guardians of the Galaxy. I hope this is where Marvel is going, because I feel like they backed off of that for a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's so hard because like as comic lovers, like I read my own fair share of comics, just not a lot of the Fantastic Four specifically, but like you get to see all these different adventures from your favorite characters. So like when you only get one movie of them and they have to stick to one particular genre, one particular story, it's like a lot of pressure for them to like fit one thing,
Yeah.
fit them into one thing. When you read the comics, there's so many different side quest adventures and like tones that you can do, or even whole runs that are like way off beat and weird or scary, and you know, so you get a lot of variety when you read the comics.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, a singular.
Well, that's also what kind of. I was going to say that's also what like is the fun part about comics, and when all those characters finally do come together, and kind of why all the characters coming together for like the first Avengers and Avengers Infinity War was so big, because you have all of these characters from different tones that should not work together being thrown together. And I think that has kind of been the issue with Marvel recently, as it's all been feeling very similar.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, of course these people would interact with each other. Whereas, you know, now the Fantastic Four and the Fox X-Men and the mainline MCU characters all interact. Those are also vastly different tones that there's actually some fun dynamics you can have there.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's also why things like Spider-Man and Punisher is gonna be amazing to see, because if you bring Punisher in and make him campy and fun, then nobody's gonna like it. He has to stay that same dark, gritty guy with Spider-Man to balance that out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As we close up this episode, I want to thank you both so much for coming on and talking about Fantastic Four. Do you guys have any final thoughts? Anything that you need to get off your chest about this movie? Something. I mean, we didn't even touch on Herbie, you know. But by the way, did Herbie die at the end, or no? Did he?
Okay, I looked closely. It looked like Galactus's hand pushed him out of the way.
Okay.
Like he didn't get crushed, is what I'm telling. That's
Yeah.
canon in my head.
That's what I tell myself too.
Wait, wasn't he was in the post credit scene, right? Like she asked him for the favorite book.
Did get crushed.
Oh God!
That
All
cut
I
out.
heard was did get crushed.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we just heard did get crushed.
I said at least we know they rebuild him.
Yes, they rebuild him
Yes.
at least, at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that apartment, because my heart broke for that apartment. It was so gorgeous. Last things to get off our chest. Okay, I'll go first because I have a question for you too. I want to also know, for new comic book readers, what's like a good comic to get them started on Fantastic Four? So that's the question. I'll let you think on that while I answer. I think the last things I'll say about this movie, we didn't talk about the score enough, but we could be here for hours. The music is so good, and I love that music score is such a big part of Marvel movies in general. And I think when there's a good score, there's a good movie. Like that, they have to keep investing in the music of these movies because it really does build a lot of the character and it helps immerse you in the world. And what Michael Giacchino did with this score was just so fun. It reminds me a little bit of like Duel of the Fates, Star Wars, with the choir singing in there, and like the little oh 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 reminds me like a baby heart monitor or something. Like there's just something really great about the music. If anybody watching happens to want to hear more of my thoughts on this movie, I do have a YouTube channel. I do have a spoiler-filled review. So, in case you're not tired of hearing me talk just yet. But I will say the most romantic part of this movie that we didn't get to mention earlier is when Sue is giving birth and she's exerting all her power. She becomes invisible, and Reed is holding her, and she's invisible, but his head is against hers. And when she finally gives birth, she becomes visible again, and you can see that she was making eye contact with him while she was invisible. And it was just such a powerful connection moment. I was like, wow, that really like had me invested in their love story and their relationship. And I really, really liked that little attention to detail in that moment.
Yeah.
That was it.
I'm just adding a real quick thing on that is something I was talking about with a friend about Superman and Lois, just the show, but also the characters, is that like I like when we see like a love story between a married couple, because I feel like Hollywood media in general kind of is like, well, once you're past the dating and you say I love you, like that's the goal. You're done. Or build up to the wedding, and that's the climax of your relationship. And it's like, no, like it's really nice to see Reed and Sue married and in love romantically, like still in it, you know?
100%.
Yeah. True.
No, definitely. I mean, yeah, it's just nice to see them in love and, getting more married superhero representation, especially as a married guy. It's just great to see Superman and Fantastic Four this year. It's perfect for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out for anyone who is looking for Fantastic Four rec lists. I did compile an Amazon shop for the Keeg. So the Keeg does have an Amazon shop. Little bit of like the percentage of the proceeds go to the Keeg, but even you don't even have to get it there. You just look at the lists and use them as a springboard for go to Barnes and Noble and like pick up those books or whatever. But I know Drew probably has some recommendations. Where would someone get started with Fantastic Four?
My personal recommendation for getting started is the Mark Waid run, which I believe I don't exactly know where that starts.
It has an omnibus. That's also on my rec list.
Exactly.
If you go to Amazon.com,
I do know
/shop/The Keeg Show. But yes.
Yeah, it's Fantastic Four Volume 3, number 60 is where you start. But the Mark Waid's Fantastic Four, especially if you loved this one for the family dynamic, because that is where a lot of that family dynamic definitely shines through, is in that Waid run. And also highlights a lot of the guilt that we see in Reed Richards in that run. Outside of that, for the visuals and everything, if you can go back to the old 60s ones and just read a couple of the classic Lee and Kirby comics, that it always is fun.
Awesome. Okay, they're on my list. Thank you.
I want to also shout out Ryan North, the current writer of Fantastic Four. He did like a 20 something issue run, and then they restarted his run, and he's still the writer.
You know that it on my Instagram and my TikTok pinned at the very time I read.
That didn't come out.
Oh.
What was that? Emily, did you catch that?
I think he said he has a video pinned on his TikTok and Instagram where he makes a list of,
Nice.
of recommendations.
Nice.
Oh, I'm not sure. It's I think I'm behind again.
Oh no.
So.
Oh no.
Drew, if you can finish up, what are your final thoughts about Fantastic Four as we finish all this up?
Okay, sorry about technical difficulties. Final thoughts. I thought the movie was a super good first start for the Fantastic Four in the MCU. I'm extremely excited to see what comes next. I definitely hope that they put this much heart and soul into all of the Fantastic Four stuff going forward. But we will really just ultimately have to wait and see. As a lifelong Fantastic Four fan, I could not be happier with the film that we got.
Awesome.
That's great.
Thank you both of you so much for coming on this show. Thank you to everybody out there in the chat, because there's a good amount of people in the chat just chatting it up. Darth Chaco out there, Sarah Zitney, Brent Lloyd, shout out to Brent. There was Fernanda Amalinks. There was a bunch of other people watching and or listening. If you're watching us live, you're watching us on youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or maybe Twitch, or maybe you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and SoundCloud. We're on all of those. That's just an audio podcast, but maybe you're listening to us on the way to work, and that is cool too. But however you're digesting us, like, comment, subscribe, follow, write a review, let us know you're out there. Before we get going, Emily, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, at Movie Mija, it's my handle on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And I just went to Comic-Con for the very first time. So
You
I'm
did?
making some. Yes, I saw you there, which was so cool. You were in real life, not just online.
Yeah.
So I got to see so many cool things. I don't know if you could tell, my voice is still kind of gone from this weekend. But yeah, I'm making some content about that right now, and I have a lot of reviews up from this past year. So I am a part-time filmmaker myself. So if you want some insights on like what it's like to make a movie and my thoughts on the latest movie releases this year, you can check out my YouTube and TikTok for all that.
Awesome. Movie Mija. All right. Drew, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
2K on all platforms, basically. Not too much content stuff coming up. Birth of My Child's about to happen. Then the Fantastic Four world premiere, just got invited to that. So we're kind of coming to the end of the Fantastic Four content a little bit, shifting focus, and basically just getting ready to see where it all takes us from here. Still posting Marvel content. We got the Odyssey coming out next year, which I'm extremely hyped for. Fallout later this year. So all kinds of stuff I'm going to be talking about.
Awesome. And for anyone who didn't pick that up, that's Drew Parker 2K on Instagram and TikTok. Drew does great work, so definitely follow him out there. And Drew just happened to mention, yes, Drew went to the world premiere of Fantastic Four. He got invited out, so
cool.
Congrats on that, man. That's cool.
Yeah, truly an amazing experience. I'm blown away by it still. It's once in a lifetime opportunity for sure. It's crazy.
You'll get another invite for the second Fantastic Four movie.
I mean, I worked for it. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
hopefully.
he deserves that. That's
Hopefully.
awesome.
We're still posting about him. We're not gonna stop.
Yeah. Nice.
Thank you.
For anyone out there who wants to follow them, Drew Parker 2K and Movie Mija. on social media. If you want to follow me, you can follow me personally at This Is Dimithri on Instagram, but mostly follow the Keeg. We're at the Keeg Show on TikTok and Instagram. That it's TheKeegshow. On Instagram and TikTok, those are our two biggest social media platforms. We're also on like Blue Sky and Threads and all that. If you want comic book recommendations, go to amazon.com/shop/The Keeg Show. You can look at it just for recommendations, or you could literally get the comics there on Amazon. If any of those look cool, support the show in whatever way you can, whether it's money or just views, clicks, likes, whatever. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, do your thing out there, whether you're watching us on Twitch or YouTube or listening to the podcast. We got a lot of shows that we do under the Keeg, including Comic Talk. That's every Thursday. We got the Keeg Talks where we talk about movies and TV shows and whatnot. So a lot of cool stuff to come. We're coming off that San Diego Comic-Con high. So we shall see what kind of content we can create from everything there. And then, New York Comic-Con and LA Comic-Con are coming up. So, maybe there's some updates there. That is pretty much it. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, everybody out there. Once again, I am your host, Dimithri Pereira, and this has been the Keeg Talks, the Fantastic Four First Steps. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Super